The Challenge Tour is a tough tour.
It's just dog eat dog.
Standards frightening some weeks, really, to be honest.
The dawn of a new Challenge Tour season gives rise to fresh hope of following in the footsteps of those graduates who've achieved global success. It's a campaign which transports our contenders to 3 continents over 8 months, with 24 tournaments in no fewer than 16 different countries. Finish the season in the top 15 on the road to Mallorca, and you'll secure a golden ticket to the European Tour.
The gap between the 2 tours isn't probably as big as everyone thinks.
All you can hope for having a full year in Challenge Tour is to graduate.
It's such a good breeding ground for everyone, and hopefully you're one of those guys that can move on up.
So many people coming from everywhere, like South Africa, Australia, America and China.
Everybody out here can play, everybody's probably capable of winning. It's such a fine line.
Everyone that plays here want to finish top 15, get to the next stage.
It's hard. Being on this tour is hard.
The scene was set for the first event of the 2019 Challenge Tour season, and the Turkish Airlines Challenge, with a new northern home in quite beautiful surroundings. Overlooking the sparkling Black Sea, Samsun Golf Club was the welcoming host to the opening tournament, where the starting pistol on the season was fired by Sweden's Joel Sjöholm. But coming into the final round, Denmark's Mark Flint Hastrup was just 1 shot behind Polish leader Adrian Marok.
Obviously everyone wants to start well, but I felt like my game was really good at this time because I spent winter working on my game with my coach, and I felt really good about my game.
After his Saturday 65, Marok out of position here, and a test for his short game. It's okay, but he needs birdies.
Played pretty well, just didn't make enough putts, just everything was missing right next to the hole, so just couldn't grab this momentum, that I needed. Couldn't finish it off on Sunday, but it was a very good start for me.
Syme had turned down a chance to play on the European Tour this week. He was looking to capitalise, and with 8 birdies in a 67, the Scot was duly installed as clubhouse leader at 23 under par. He was tied with his playing partner Francesco Laporta, the Italian following a blistering first-round 62 with a 5 under par 67 to finish. Now the pair of them would have to play a waiting game.
When I started to play this year, I said, okay, just try to do your best and finish the top 15. I played solid the second round. I think so I finished like 4 birdies in the last 6 holes. And then we went to the playoff.
Syme with a 7-iron from 196 yards. And he has landed that in the perfect spot. Look at this. Over to you, Francesco Laporta.
It was like 145 meters to the pin for me, and it was a 9-iron.
Connection sounds good for Laporta.
I pull it a bit, it just bounced on the slope, just 3 meters left of the flag, and then he rolled just off. Yeah, it was 8 and 9 meters putt.
With Laporta off the back and failing to get up and down, the door opened for Syme.
Syme for the win. And it is a first Challenge Tour victory for Scotland's Syme, beating Francesco Laporta at the first extra hole.
If you finish second in the first tournament of the year, you already know you are in the Rolex Trophy. So it was a good start, and they give you lots of confidence for the rest of the season.
So 1 event down, 23 to go. The Challenge Tour season off and running. It was to northern Spain next, and the wine region of Alvar-Provence, host to the Challenge de España. And through 54 holes, Sebastian Garcia Rodriguez had produced a vintage display to establish a two-shot lead, one further back, an informed Frenchman.
It's funny because I was having dinner after 2 rounds with Adrien Meronk, and I told him whoever shoots 10 under this weekend is going to win. And I was not even close to the lead after 2 rounds, but it was just a feeling that if someone shoots 10 under, he would win.
Chilly conditions here at Ischy Golf for the final round of the Challenge de España. Garcia Rodriguez leads, but plenty are ready to pounce.
It was a packed leaderboard, if I remember right, and I was making a bunch of pars, and I was getting a bit frustrated because I felt like I was playing well. I think some other guys were making some birdies, so I was a bit far behind for the win.
After a quiet start, the Frenchman rolled in this for birdie at 13 to turn up the pressure at 9 under.
It was a big release for me to make that putt, and then everything just started to get going.
Garcia Rodriguez dropped his first shot at the 12th hole. There were more problems at 13. That for par. Back-to-back bogeys at just the wrong time. The Spaniard slipping out of the race.
To Rosner, he birdied 13 and 14. This his second to the par 4, 15th. Oh, you've got to be joking. It's a slam dunk eagle too for the Frenchman.
All of a sudden, I had a 2-shot lead and 3 holes to go. I was like, wow, okay. And it was just very important to me to stay focused and stick to my plan, because if I started thinking about winning or, I was gonna lose my mind, because I never won a Challenge Tour event.
A tap-in par is good enough, and a closing bogey-free 66 seals a first Challenge Tour title for Antoine Rosner as he jumps to second on the road to Mallorca.
I got very emotional because first pro win, very emotional, all the hard work paying off early in the season. It was a great feeling.
Well, félicitations and très bien for Monsieur Rosner, who's heading back home to France as a Challenge Tour champion.
I went home for 2 nights, Sunday night and Monday night. It was cool just to see family, friends, girlfriends. You go home after a win. It's the best feeling in the world.
2019 marked the 8th straight year the Challenge Tour has checked in to the Czech Republic, where our latest champion was still on a high.
I was still all about that win in Spain. I was not even thinking about what was going to happen for the rest of the season. I was still so happy that I won my first event. And I was doing that practice round. Everybody was saying congrats to me, and I was just enjoying a lot. And that's how I was for the practice days, yeah.
A new week, but a familiar name shining brightest again. Antoine Rosner opening up with rounds of 70, 65 and a Saturday 68, leaving him a stroke clear of the field.
I had solid first day, 1 or 2 under par, and a great second day. Great performance. I was, as we say in French, on surfe la vague, so we surf the wave, which means we get the momentum going. And it was just, that wave was not ending for me.
Hardly ideal surfing weather for the final day, cold, inclement. But Antoine aiming to stand tall in the blustery conditions alongside his close friend and compatriot Robin Roussel. After a top 10 in Turkey, starting to make a name for himself. Richard Bland is a more established figure and eyeing a return to the main tour.
I lost my card at the tour school. But yeah, once Challenge Tour started, it was just right, get your head down, get the job done, and that's all that mattered really. The last day was pretty cold and pretty windy, and I kind of knew that par would be a decent score. Yeah, second was really the best we could do, and so it kind of came away from that, pretty pleased with it really.
And Rosner is beginning to run away with this now.
I was feeling so confident. There was no doubts in my mind I was not going to win. And it's funny, but after 9 holes I knew I was going to win. And I was just playing so confident, nothing could happen to me.
Antoine Rosner romps home by a whopping 7 shots at the Prague Golf Challenge and makes it back-to-back wins.
The week before I was getting emotional to win, and that week it was completely different. I was more proud of myself to accomplish what I just did.
Antoine Rosner. Just 3 events gone. Antoine Rosner already with 2 wins under his belt. A wonderful start to the Challenge Tour campaign.